good to be back. Who was here last year? Who had fun last year? Good. So for me, it was a weekend of a lot of fun. There was a lot of fitness involved. I got to listen to a lot of good talks. But there was also one ripple in this weekend. I was involved in a crime. I was the victim of a crime that spanned multiple counties in Florida. It involved multiple police departments in Florida, as well as the CIA. It all started right here, in this room. So here's what happened. I had just finished hosting the Fit Talks. Okay, so this is Saturday night. Everyone's done. So I'm like, great. I leave. I go into the green room, which is where I had stashed my GR1. I had put it in a specific corner, so I knew where it was. I go in there, go to get the bag, no bag. I think, okay, someone probably just moved it into another corner or something. So I kind of look around, still no bag. Now, please keep in mind, this GR1, it contains 2 laptops, one of which has a draft of my new book. So I'm feeling a little bit nervous. I can kind of anticipate what you're all thinking right now, and you're probably thinking, well, you're an idiot. It's probably an accident because you have a Go Ruck bag at a Go Ruck event. But here's the thing. This is the exact bag, and I want you to notice 2 things about this bag. That is a very specific patch and a very specific little lanyard loop. And I had placed those on this bag specifically because I anticipated that everyone would have the same bag. So here's what I do. I'm like, because of that, I'm sure something. So I start walking across the field, and I'm not feeling great about it, but I'm like, yeah, we're at a safe place, a lot of military. And then it occurs to me, I have my iPhone on me. So what I do is I pull up my iPhone, and I pull up Find My iPhone app, because it is linked to one of the computers in that bag. I load it up. I go, okay, this will tell me where at Sandlot JAX it is. Here we go. This is what I get. Not only is it not at Sandlot JAX, this bag isn't even in Jacksonville. This bag is 45 minutes away in a town called Middleburg, Florida. So I think, oh no, we have got a problem on our hands. And this thing is moving counties, okay? So when you think about this, we've got 2 laptops at about $1,000, $2,000 a piece. We got a GR1, which is $1 million about. You add all that up, you have at least a Class B felony grand larceny on your hands that is spanning counties, okay? This is a big deal. So what do? I find the cops, naturally. So I find a police officer who is running security for Sandlot JAX, and I walk up and I tell him, hey, look, man, I thought I misplaced the bag, but look where it is. And he goes, Middleburg? Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. He tells me, look, this probably isn't very good for you. I'm going to assume the bag's lost. I'll try and help you. He's going on, and I just sort of black out for a minute. I'm just kind of like, all is lost. I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I'm just going to throw in the towel. Just screw it. Screw the book. Screw the bag. Just whatever. This guy says, okay, I'm going to give you the phone number for the Middleburg PD. So he gives me the phone number, and he says, I want you to call them and tell them what's going on. And at this moment, I had a brilliant insight. I said, I'm going to do you one better, buddy. I'm not only calling the Middleburg PD, I'm calling the CIA. So I go find Emily McCarthy. For those of you who don't know, she is one of the heads of Go Ruck. She's a former case officer for the CIA. So I go find Emily, and she looks like this at the moment, okay? She's in mom mode. She's having fun. And she sees me, and she goes, hey, Michael. I go, hi, Emily. We got a problem on our hands. And she goes, oh, no, what happened? I tell her what happened. I tell her about the bag. I tell her it's in Middleburg. She looks at me, and she just goes, follow me. I'm like, where are we going? She goes, we're going to get your damn bag. So next I find myself sitting shotgun in Emily's Jeep. She is in full-on Jason Bourne mode. She transitions into this Emily, the CIA agent Emily, who meets with warlords. And she's behind the wheel, and she's careening through traffic across lanes. This thing is redlined. Meanwhile, I'm on my phone, and I'm tracking this bag, and it goes from some gas station to like some house, and it's there for a minute, but then it's back to a gas station. So I'm on the phone with Middleburg PD, and I'm like, hey, here's what's going on. And they say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have an officer meet you at this gas station that the bag is at now. And the bag sat there for 5, 10, 20 minutes. It hadn't moved. So we careen into this gas station, just straight up. This is the actual gas station. We find this officer, right? There's this officer there, and he's sort of like a Florida man meets Brock Lesnar. The dude is just, he's all tatted up. Tell him what happens, and he's like, look, man, I looked around in some cars around here. I checked the trash cans. If it's not here, man, it's probably on its way to Cuba right now. Like, you are SOL, my man. So we're talking, and I go, yeah, I thought I had hope for a minute because it was moving around. It tracked to a house. It tracked to this gas station. He goes, wait a minute. You said it went to a house? I said, yeah, I went to a house for a minute. He goes, you know where it went? I go, yeah, I actually screenshotted it. So I show him, and he goes, that house is just down the road. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to that house right now. I'm going to walk up. I'm going to knock on the door. When they open, I'm going to say, hey, we know the bag's here. This is not a big deal. The person does not want to press charges. He's not mad. He just wants his bag back. And when they hand over the bag, I'm going to arrest the shit out of him. So I'm like, okay. So Emily and I, we sit on the curb of this gas station. We go get some snacks. We're sitting there. 5 minutes goes by. 10 minutes goes by. 15. I'm listening for gunshots. I'm like, I hope nothing crazy is going on. Then I get a call. And it is a Florida number. And it's Brock Lesnar. Brock goes, we got your bag. Emily and I, we get in the Jeep. We come around this curb, drive into some neighborhood. It's dark out. We see these police lights. There's these 2 cruisers parked. There's a group of people that are like getting caught in the cruiser light. And they had found the perp. They had absolutely 100% found the criminal. There he is. Suspect is 4'10". He's 9 years old, and he is wearing a Virginity Rocks t-shirt. So what had happened is there was a speaker last year whose name was Earl Granville. And Earl is an amputee. He was an SF guy, and this kid was tagging along with Earl for his time at Sandlot JAX. So what happened is Earl gives his talk, and then he goes into the green room. He removes his prosthetic leg, and he sets it atop my GR1. Earl goes out. They all have fun doing stuff outside, and then as they're leaving, Earl says, hey, kid, would you go grab my leg? Which, you don't hear that often, but Sandlot JAX. So the kid goes, yeah, sure. Runs into the green room, grabs the leg, sees that it's on top of my bag, and thinks, oh, it must be his bag too. So kid's just trying to help, right? Grabs the bag, puts it in the back of the car. They take off down to Middleburg. They didn't even know it was there in the car. 2 hours later, the police show up. So why did I tell you this story? We tend to think of problems as bad things. When a problem happens to you, it's bad. But I think that problems can actually be good things. Because here's the thing. All stories, they start with a problem. And if you don't have a problem, you don't have a story. And if you don't have a story, you don't get a lesson. And if you don't get a lesson, you do not learn anything. So humans are a very unique species in that we are the only species who can tell stories. So why do we tell stories? We tell stories to transmit information. Information about how to live a better life, how to act in the future, how to be more resilient, how to make friends, how to be social, all these very, very important things about being a human. They all start with a story. So there's this mythologist, and his name is Joseph Campbell. He died in the 80s, but what he did is he studied myths from all over the world, cultures just throughout time. He studied their stories. And he noticed as he started to dig into these that they all had the same basic structure. And it's not like these people were talking like, hey, I told this good story, you should try it, right? This arose naturally. In the structure, it had 5 parts. So at the start of any good story, everything is fine in the main character's life. Things are good, no problems. But then what happens is a problem inserts itself in the story. The main character encounters a problem. Then what happens next is they immediately go to this stage. This is called the refusal stage. In every good story, the main character goes, I don't want to deal with this. This is not something that I want to deal with at all. Screw this. I'm going to ignore it, on and on. To be quite honest, still today, a lot of people can hang out here. But if you choose to tackle your problem, you're like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to try and solve this thing. You then move into the adventure/danger zone. You don't know how this is going to turn out. You just know it's going to suck along the way. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to do some things you don't want to do. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be wigged out, right? So you're struggling down there. But as you're doing that, you're picking up a lot of important information that will guide you in the future. And so, once you've solved your problem, you literally come out a new person. Because what you learned in this zone here, it's going to forever change your behavior. Full stop. And then you get a little while where things are good again until you encounter another problem. And then you have to solve it again. That is literally how humans learn and grow and become better people. If you stay here, you get none of that. So when I think about leadership, to me, a leader is someone who spends the least amount of time here and the most amount of time here helping others get through the shit, as it were. So this is all based on ancient mythology, like thousands and thousands of years. But there's actually modern science that tells us that having problems can be a good thing. So when researchers look at the mental health of people and how they relate to problems, they find that on one hand you have people who have problem after problem after problem, like heinous stuff all the time. Those people have poor mental health. But what is, on the other hand, and what is very surprising, is that people who have no problems, or very few problems, or ignore their problems, they're not going to deal with them, they have equally poor rates of mental health. So it is the people who encounter problems in life, who are willing to fling themselves into the adventure or danger zone and come out the other side with a good story, those are the people who do the best off. So what did I learn from this Florida caper? I learned 2 things. I learned that maybe I should give the world and the people in it a little more credit than I do. So when that bag went missing, I'm not going to lie, my immediate thought was, someone definitely stole that shit. Someone definitely stole it. Well, come to find out, it was a 10-year-old kid who just wanted to help. So now when I encounter tension with other people, maybe conflict, maybe someone's just a pain in my butt, I can think back to that kid, and I can go, you know what? Maybe this person is just trying to help. And that buys me a lot of space. That improves my relationships. It moves me further ahead in life. Second of all, I learned that it pays to have really badass friends and to ask them for help. So I'm the type of person where I try and solve things just alone. I could not have found that bag were it not for Emily. Full stop. She turned into straight up Jason Bourne. And like she said, we're finding that damn bag. So now sometimes when I'm trying to rough it alone, I try and lean into my friend network because some people have different skills, and by asking for help, you not only improve your friendship and relationships, you strengthen your community. A community is a bunch of people that all have a different set of skills that come together to solve greater problems and move us ahead. 3 things I want you to take away from this are, 1, this weekend, please watch where you put your bag. Number 2, this weekend, please watch where you put your leg. And number 3, always remember, no problem, no story. No story, no learning, no improving, no becoming a better human. And that is why we're all here this weekend. Thank you.